It's morning, so I'm going to say good morning. This is OEQ, and I promised I would upload a video on my spell rotation and macros and stuff to kind of help out any, you know, Necro people in the guild and stuff, and anybody else might find it useful. So here we go. There's the spell lineup that I use for my combat spells in general. Okay, that's that. You can pause it if you need to. And I'm going to load up my buff spells that I put up. It's not too many Necros. Not too many at all. It's like 3. Alright. So, and I also add I add a couple of illusions on number 9 and 10 are pet illusions I like that are ones that you have. You can find them in POK up in the library. They're not super high either. I think the highest one's like in the 70s, level 70s somewhere. So you just got to check I think they start in the 40s, maybe 50s. Just poke around, or you could Google it. It's not that hard to find. So there's that. Right, the damage spells that are left on there is just because I don't have that many buffs or stuff to have to worry about with stuff like this that aren't covered through Mortifier's Unity. I'll cover that in a minute. And the one I labeled Undead Spells is basically my combat spells, but I take out one spell and I put in a shield, a cascading rune shield that's like for my pet, a rune. That would be number 11 there, is the cascading rune shield. I think it's 3 runes and 1 that kind of go back to back once they go down, and every time they go down they heal the pet. From what I understand, people have excuse me, people have told me that I think Shaman have that, or a similar spell, probably stronger. But that helps out with heals. There's no need to be able to nuke a mob. I'll go over that stuff later, but this is my undead lineup. And here's another lineup I use. This right here is just, I kind of play around with it once in a while if I'm grouping with people. And my DPS in a group is kind of sucky anyway. So I'm like, you know what? My pet's tanking for them usually, or something like that. I'm like, I just don't want my pet to die, and I don't want to make it hard on the healer. So I tell them, I was like, you know what? I'll heal my pet. Ignore it. Just do the people. And because if I'm in a group, we don't always have a merc healer, so that just makes it easier for whoever's healing. And so I replace some of the higher numbers spells, near the bottom there, with Bracing Revival, and then again that Cascading Rune Shield thing. I added the single target, the instant kind of heal for the pet. I don't put any. I'm not sure if even Necros get a promised one that's delayed. We might, but it's not needed. I don't want to replace that many spell gems, so because I want to keep the combo of Immolate Bones and Scourge of Eternity on there, because that's a really good combo for damage. So I'm going to go back momentarily to the combat one. As you can see, there was only 2. I basically got rid of for the pet heals, I got rid of that one and that one, that's the swarm pets, and that's the chaotic nuke that we get for that. And I have this one over here. It's called, I just put rune buff on it. That's what I named it. Incidentally, all these spell gems here, if you put /mem and when you name a spell line, then it'll go ahead and mem that spell line, whatever you do. So the rune buff one is this right here is the skin that you have. It's a rune on you that will absorb damage, give you an extra hit or two before something kills you. A little bit gives you a little time to react if you need to FD or something. But it also increases the mana regen by a significant amount. This one is 34 at rank 2, at the highest level, and that's something good. So whenever I happen to get hit and it ends up getting popped off, the nearest opportunity I get, I just load this one spell up and put it back on. And since I've been using my combat spells most of the time, I just use that as a base, and I just replace that one spell from that, and then then you go back to your combat spell. It's just one spell to put back on, then you're good to go. So there's that. Mortifier's Unity here is an AA that adds all these spell buffs onto your character. The one I block all the time is this Flesh to Toxin. I don't think it adds all that much DPS. Maybe in certain situations, and probably raiders probably use it because they're always trying to eke out every extra little point of DPS they can. I'm not that detailed. I have fun with my Necro the way I do it, so it's just annoying because there's a pitch, what I call a pitch count on it. It only lasts a certain number of charges, 24, and then every time you cast something, it doesn't necessarily spend a charge. So while an extra 10,000 damage is nice, that's instant. It doesn't count for the entire. It doesn't count for the entire dot, which would be crazy good. But it's only like a little extra 10k nuke, which at this level is kind of no, not really. So I pass. I think there's a lot of people that probably pass on it. Maybe even raiders. I don't know their world that much, but I block it. But the other ones, the other two buffs that are on here are nice to, they're needed. And it saves a couple spell slots when you're doing your buffs. Some people may not mess with this, but I don't, I just use it. You don't have to. If you don't have to, you want to just put those, whenever you're buffing, have your buff spell line, add those two spells on there, and then manually click them. Then you're fine too. Don't worry about it. This right here, I made this one here just so that I won't have to target my pet whenever I want to give it a pet illusion. The pet illusion, I don't want to explain everything here, but your pet illusions will also, if you happen to have a familiar that you get through progression. This one is the Badger, which is the one you get from Lurian Song. In case you didn't notice, you probably just didn't notice it, but if you use pet illusions, it'll refresh this buff on it. It's already like 12 hours with all your A's and everything, but that's just something to know. You don't have to worry about it getting refreshed. I don't have the most current one for TOB. This is the one for Lurian Song. That's okay. I mean, I get 1 extra % here of damage on my dots and stuff. So that'd be nice, but I'm not gonna rush it. I'll probably get it eventually. We grew pretty decent in this guild, which is Chamber of Chaos. You can't see it. I am in the guild. I did somebody suggested that we were grouping one time. We were doing some kind of raid. I think it was in a heritage zone, and to cut down on some of the lag, they suggested to just show your character name, and I kind of forget how to switch it back to show my guild tag. So as you can see, I'm in the guild here. There's people talking and crap. So so there's that. What else? I'll show so this is the buffs and everything, and you can just pause it and see the other stuff. This right here is just stuff that I click on less often. This right here, this loot thing, it's just /ADV loot. It's for the advanced loot window. So I can just instead of typing, just hit this and this will pop up and I can see the loot. I can change any things I've set in it, whatever. And if you click it again, it'll go away. Sorry for my voice. I'm done messing with my mic. Turn the volume up a little bit if you need to hear me. Hopefully it's not too bad. If you have earphones on, you probably say this is fine, whatever. Here's the rest of my macros though. I cast this first to pull and whatever, and I label them. If you put parentheses around these AAs, you can label AAs like this, so you can, because you just have the number, you're like, okay, this is probably the snare, but you have to go hunting through your AAs and stuff. This saves a little headaches for as time passes and you kind of forget what the numbers are, or if you've taken a break from the game for a year or two and then you come back, you're like, what the heck is all this? So so there's that. That's the explanation for, I think I have everything labeled. I have this item, the Ladies Entreaty, that will do a Tashani buff that lowers magic resistance. I like to put this on my pet attack. If I have to have the pet assist something, this will still go off, and it makes that process a little slower. But if I'm in any kind of dire straits, as long as I'm either gonna use pest paralysis to pound it away and root it if it's rootable. If it's not, I'm gonna be FDing. I'm not gonna be trying to manage a whole lot of different mobs if I'm soloing. And if I'm in a group, usually sending the pet over to off tank one thing if need be is about all that's needed, and just using it once is okay. If we're in really anything needed more than that, and I'm gonna FD. I just am. So okay, so that's the pet attack. Something I've relabeled this utility because it changes a little bit because it deals with spells 11 and 10. And these change depending on what spell lineup I have on there. So although I still have this labeled because these are the spells that are in my combat on my combat line. So, and I have a Merc assistant here just in case I have a DPS Merc going. I don't. 99% of the time I use my healer, but once in a while if I get bored, I just feel like kind of doing something different. I'll use my pet heal spells and I'll put a DPS Merc out instead of a healer and just kill stuff like that. I've killed rares like that, at least in the Lorien song, and it's workable. It's just something to do when you're bored. It doesn't have a lot of practical usage. Most of the time, it's just better to have the healer Merc up, just because it's just easy, set and forget. And this is long dots. I always do my long dots first. Other people don't do that. I do it that way. It's a little old school. I didn't label these, probably should, but you can see from the spell lineup, it just goes right down the line here, right? So those are the first ones I cast, and I do my medium dots, and I only have 3 dots in any of these right here because they're timed, because you have to put pauses in, and there's I like to use pause 40 instead of anything shorter than that, because just in case I need to FD during the macro, there's enough of a pause there, delay between spell casting, that if I spam my FD button, I can usually get an FD off in the middle of these macros. So that's how I think of it. That's valuable to me. Bones Nuke is, it's just when I'm nuking and with the Decree for Blood, and then I have the Swarm Pets coming in after that. And right here, I labeled this Bones Bloom because I got a lot of different stuff on here that's just the Death Whisper. Clicky is just for the funnies, It's a big red skeleton. It looks really cool, but it's fragile as heck, and it really isn't useful, but it looks kind of cool when it comes out. So once in a while, I hit it just for that. Just if I'm in a group, and I don't know, who knows. It's just fun. These are swarm pet type spells with the exception of Death Bloom. So how this works and why there's no need for pauses is when I hit it, first time I hit it, when everything's up, these are the things that are on it, okay? Rise Bones will go off, and Death Bloom has a casting time. These two, for some reason, these first two, when this goes off first, this one doesn't go off for some reason, even though this is instant. It's some sort of server lag, probably, I don't know, or some rules they have about swarm pets spawning that prevent other pets from spawning. Something like that. I don't know. It's a combination of those two effects, I think. And then this will go off without messing with Wake the Dead. Wake the Dead is if you don't know, is a Necro AA that will raise swarm pets from dead bodies of mobs that you've killed that are within a certain range of you, and it's actually pretty far range. If you use this and you don't have any bodies, it won't go off and it'll reset. So if you put this ahead of Death Bloom, right, it'll kind of keep you from being able to use Death Bloom by clicking on this macro until you get enough dead bodies around. And once in a while, because something has to be left on the body for that to work. And you're in a group and everybody's just looting everything. Then you gotta manually click your Death Bloom, and I'm lazy. I just want to hit the damn number 8 button here, for this macro. That's just annoying to me. So I'd rather put the priority of having Death Bloom on first. A lot of people use Necros and box teams, and they don't, with the idea of not using their pet as the main tank. They'd rather use a mage pet, sometimes a beast lord pet, or just their regular character if they have a shadow knight or something like that. I don't know. I don't box. You may know I just have a single account, and this is why I rely on my Necro to be able to do stuff on my own a little bit more than others, because they're perfectly fine. They do, you can't do quite as much as maybe a box team, but you can do a lot, and you can get through, stuff. It's fine. This right here is the root pass paralysis, and it pushes the mobs backwards a certain amount and puts a super long root that is, unless they're immune to root, will root them in place for a really long time. It's really hard to break without nukes or something hitting them. So another thing about this to remember is that if something is immune to root, right, it's immune to root, that's fine, but it will also it'll still punt them back. You may not see that kickback that it does, but that's on a separate identity or thing or whatever. But it won't get rooted because it's immune to root. Sometimes that can be mildly useful. Say if you're using it to pull, and a combination of, say, that and maybe snare, I guess. It's one of those things not damage. It doesn't do any damage also, so there's no fear of being summoned by using it. It's there's some very situational but some practical ways that even if mobs are immune to root and snare, that can be used in strategic or tactical ways. So just give ideas. My FD button is this, simple. This is the AAFD, and then this is another AAFD that isn't quite as effective, but it's a nice backup to have in case this is down. One thing to always know is that if you're down prone and Death's Effigy is down and you've had to use Death Piece, Death's Effigy will still work if you're prone to wipe the aggro completely clean in case you have any doubts or something is still on your extended target list. You can be prone and hit this and you won't see any animations or anything, but you look at your target list and suddenly, boom, everything will be off, and you'll have that invisibility affecting your song window. So that's a nice thing to remember. My oh crap button or oh shit button is a button that I use that I add the pet feign on it. If I want to try to save my pet, I'll use this, and then when things are appropriate, I will stand up, leaving the pet still down, and then I will use Summon Companion to make sure all of the aggro is completely cleared off the pet before I have it stand. The pet feign is not as effective as your player character's feign, and it will fail. I'm not sure I've ever seen it fail for it going prone, although it's possible. It's not as foolproof as, say, a Beast Lord's not FD ability. I guess it is an FD ability, isn't it? That just automatically wipes aggro off the pet. But the thing with I think I've covered this with my Beast Lord. The Beast Lord's ability like that pet can't be attacking when you're using it. So there's going to be a delay before it goes off when you set up your macro. I would suggest 2 or 3 pet back offs before using the Beast Lord version of that, if you want to save your pet, which is even more important for the Beast Lord to save their pet than a Necro, I think. This Invis one right here is fine. You know, I like to put a bunch of junk on this. It's kind of a habit. This is the invisibility. This is instant cast for the Necro when it's just a single, invis. So you got this, and then I do a forge right after it because you're able to do that, and then you can sit and med up or whatever if you're without a mount, and you got auto inventory to loot the stuff that you foraged if you foraged anything. I got 2 of them there because sometimes you can forage 2 things. So that's how that works. I use this same button to come up from an FD, which is nice to be able to do that on the same button. And that is the setup. Hold on. This right here is just if I'm in POK and I don't want to be doing FDs all the time. I don't know. This right here, pet power. These are separate. I have this as a separate button to the DPS button because I couldn't fit everything on it. Those are pet Fortify Companion is really the real name of it. I just got tired of typing, so I just put it like that. And then the Fury Companion's Fury is this one for the DPS part of the pet. And my DPS is this right here, and it's starts at my robe, and it goes over 5 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then these are just kind of junk ones that I don't use that often. I hardly ever use Men Companion. Anyway, so this right here is the clicky on your robe. Everybody has a clicky on their robe. This is Necros. This is pretty good. Adds a decent number of, you can check that out. You have your own robe. If you're a Necro, just check out what it is. I put the glyph on here. You have to spend A's to get this glyph buff to help with, it's not necessary, but I'm max AA'd, so I got to spend A's on something anyway. So, and I'm doing like quests and missions with my guild, and a lot of times I get up like over 300 A's that are banked, and it's annoying. So I do fireworks. I'll spend it on this when I do stuff. But if this is down and I haven't spent any A's for this, I still kill stuff fine on my own. The big rock star is the Heretic's Twin Cast. It's really good with the dots, super good. And Spire and Hand of Death, just add more damage. There's one AA that's sort of a DPS boost. It's Pyre. I do not use that, and I don't use it. I'm looking it up here. Let me can activate it. Might narrow it down a little bit. Funeral Pyre. Used to be called Funeral Pyre, I think. There it is. Sorry. I haven't had a lot of caffeine. It's the morning. Give me a break. Okay. So this right here will go damage spells that have a duration of 12 seconds, increase damage, reduce the duration by and increasing the mana cost by 35%. Actually, it used to be I think 50 or 100%. It's crazy, but still, this right here, it doesn't add enough DPS to justify the mana suckage it does. If you want to use it once in a while situationally, like in raids and stuff like that, I would recommend not putting it on your normal DPS macro, but shove it over on it by its own. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'll just do it because I have a spot to fill. So this right here, but I kill stuff a little slower when I'm burning to kill like a rare or something. But my mana I have extra mana, way extra. I use maybe a quarter to maybe a third of my mana bar when I'm killing a rare. I got plenty of mana left over to be able to just do the regular dots and just DPS it down a little bit extra. You know, I don't run a parser or anything like that. I just want to get crap done and have fun and pretend I'm a little evil genie dude or whatever. You know, it's how I have fun. All right, so and there we go. So there's that. So I'm gonna go ahead and say what numbers I'm doing because I have a certain order that's not exactly the order all the way down like that because there are 4 spawns up here I like to just kill until I see the rare, and I'm just gonna grab. Is the rare up? The rare is up. Let's get them. Hey, there we go. Now it's a party. Look at that. All right, get them. Now there's I sick my pet, so I put that Tashani on it, right? I have to re-hit number 1 to get those debuffs on. Now I'm going to hit number 3 to see if I get lucky enough to be able to I didn't, because you can slow mobs too. I was going to go over that, but anyway. So then if that fails, I just go, okay, I'll just put the pet buffs on, do that. And I'll start my DPS button first before I start loading the dots on. I have a sound trigger whenever something twin casts. So every dot that gets casted here, that sound's going to go off. I guess sorry, not sorry. I don't know. It's just I'm used to it. It's helpful to kind of get a gauge in how many more dots you have to cast if you're just in normal kind of grind mode or, whatever. Because I like to be efficient with the mana. I'm going to check this. Everything's fine. So there we go. Then I hit number 7 here to do that. Now I'm going to manually hit the second spell dot, and now the third spell dot to refresh, because the first one's a super long one. Now I hit number 5 macro, and I just recast those over again before they run out. And that's the third one. Okay, now I'm going to hit number 6. I didn't do very well at shouting out the numbers for the order when I'm doing stuff, but I'll review, or you could figure it out if you pay attention to the spells that are being spelled or cast. That'd be a pain in the ass way to do it from your point of view, so I guess that would suck. So I'm hitting number 3 to do a little nuke / dot thing going on, even though I don't really need it. I'm just gonna hit my 7 again to throw that out there. And there we go. Hey, I got another ring. I like those. I use those for my pet. And there you go. And you see I killed Show. I was at full mana when I started, and look at this. They use like 20% of my mana-ish or so. I got plenty of mana to be able to tack on, to just keep rolling, once I go through the loop, So this is my pet bag. All this stuff is stuff I put on my pet, in addition to the mage summon gear. The stuff I'm going to sell. The stuff, when I max out my mage persona, I'm going to use for gear for my mage persona to be able to use stuff. I have a mage persona on my Necro so that I don't have to pay for pet gear. If I have to have mage summon pet gear, if something goes wrong and I die or my pet dies. So that's about it. I think that pretty much covers the macros. Probably could have done better. I don't like, AFK, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'll go over these real quick at the end here. A little bonus coverage here. This right here is, I like to hide my corpses to help with lag. Okay? So by making this, it'll hide the corpse. And this will show if you want to loot something manually or see what's going on. So I'll hit show corpses, and as you can see, there we go. Shows Showroom's corpse right there now, but when I hit hide always, it'll go away. Ooh, oh, magic. Okay, so that helps with lag a little bit. It's my Overseer button for when I'm doing Overseer to level up my persona. My persona has very rarely, if ever, seen the light of day. He's been leveled all the way up to 120 purely by doing Overseer. Search for EverQuest Overseer feature or something like that. I'm not going to cover that now, but that's something that is a nice little way to get XP on alts that you don't play very often. And that's about it. It's Dead Man Floating, some other stuff here. Just drink it in, drink it in. I got my Jan's veil on this guy. It makes him look like a genie. I'm kind of enjoying the whole genie vibe here, so I'm not on a mount. Necros don't really need to be on mounts anyway unless they're traveling. Not the way I play them anyway. I'm very mana efficient, or I try to be. And I think this is a cool look, man. Drink it in. I know a lot of people have this illusion, but the difference is I make this look good. Aw, yeah. I'm a nerd. All right. LWDQ, I'm out. You have a great day.